Hello and welcome to this month's edition of the Big Green Dome Lunch Club Live. My name is Martin.
And I'm Steph.
And it is fabulous to have you all join us. So, the Big Green Dome Lunch Club has been running for 3 months now online due to the situation that we are in. Previously, we've done all kinds of things, haven't we, Steph?
Mm-hmm.
What have we done?
Well, we've used sock balls to juggle, learn
For
how
some
to
juggling,
juggle,
love
and
juggling.
to play games.
Not the cans.
Not the cans and
Yeah.
things.
What have you got over there? You've got shakers.
Yeah, we made shakers, informal ones and nice ones, and we've done lots of baking. And those are some lemonade scones that I made yesterday.
So, with that in mind, shall we use one of these socks to meet the rest of the team?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Let's throw it up in the air and let's see where it lands.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Hi, I'm Ali.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
And I'm Michael.
On to the next people.
Ah!
Did you catch it?
Yeah.
Can you say hi, I'm Hannah?
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Hi, I'm Claire. Great to see you again and we'll see you later for cookery.
That was brilliant. So that's the rest of the team.
Martin, somebody's missing. Don't worry, let's just throw another sock.
Come on in.
Hi everybody, I'm Lynn.
Brilliant. So now that's the whole team, right?
Yes, definitely.
Excellent. So, Big Green Dome Lunch Club. Have you seen one of these cards? I love these cards. But, Steph, do you want to explain to us, why do we actually call it the Big Green Dome Lunch Club?
Well, when we set it up as a lunch club, we were meeting in our church, and our church is St Mary's St George Church in High Wycombe, and we don't have a tower or a spire on the top of our church. We have a dome, a big dome, and it's green.
So, we called it the Big Green Dome Lunch Club. I understand. And we used to meet in the church, didn't we, before lockdown? And we used to have lunch and play games and do crafts. It was great. And that's what these flyers were for. These cards. They're great.
Yes, and now we're meeting online so that you can still do games and activities at home and still remember what we all look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a challenge for you about these cards.
Okay, what is that? I love a challenge. What you got?
Do you think you can maybe cut a hole in that card and then climb through it?
Now, that's not a challenge, Steph. That's impossible because look at the size of the card and look at the size of me.
Yeah.
I could not get through this card. That is impossible.
There's some scissors. Want to try?
How can I? Literally, look. I can't even get my hand through it. So how am I going to climb through the whole? No, impossible.
Don't worry, because Paul's going to explain it all to us.
Well, I'd like to see that.
I'm going to cut a hole in this card, this ordinary Big Green Dome Lunch Club card, big enough for me to go through. That's right, I'll cut a hole in here and I'm going to step through it later on. Martin doesn't know how this is done and he's itching to see. It's a trick that I learned when I was a boy. Now, it's not going to be very easy to see because it's a small card, so I'm going to move the camera in a moment and so you'll be a little bit closer, and I'm also going to do the cuts on an ordinary piece of paper because it's easier to see that, and obviously it's a bit bigger and it's clearer, but I have got some cards made up with the cuts so you can see that it works. So why don't you come closer? Okay, you ready? We'll put the cards to one side for the moment and I'm going to show you on the piece of paper. First thing to do is fold the card lengthways down the middle. Now with a bit of paper it doesn't matter so much, but with the card you want to give it a good old crease with your nail. Now a really important part of this trick is to know which side of the folded paper is the fold. We've got the fold here and we've got the open end, and if you get it wrong it doesn't work. So you start with the fold towards you and you make a cut near to the end, but you don't go all the way through. And then you make another cut at the other end in sort of a mirror image. And then you need to make a series of other cuts in the middle. I'm just going to make 3, but in the card you will need to do more than that. So we go 1, 2, and 3. We end up with a sort of a cone if you want. Little flaps of paper there. And here it is done in the card. You can see the card, no cheating there. And I've got about a dozen cuts in this one. Put that to one side. Now you can see there's actually quite a big gap between each of these existing cuts. We want to turn the paper over. So now we've got the open side of the fold at us, and we're going to do cuts, the same sort of cuts, but in the middle of the existing one. So away we go. 1, in this case, 2, 3, and 4. Be careful again that you don't go too far and cut the thing off. And here is the card done the same. Now with those extra cuts now, if you pull it, it will become a sort of concertina affair. You can probably guess where this is going. Now finally, and this again, you've got to be careful with this cut, you want to cut along the fold, but obviously if you cut all the way along the fold, the paper will fall into 2 pieces and that's no good. So you need to flatten it out first. Not really easy, it's easier with card actually. And we're going to miss the first one out, and then we're going to cut the fold we want to miss the last one out, so I think it's not a bad idea to turn the paper around and cut away from the very last one. And there you go. Now you can see it's come a bit like a daisy chain, and here it is in the card. You can see still it's the card. It's got the cuts from the outside, it's got the cuts from the fold, and it's got the cut down the middle. What do you reckon? Do you think I can get through that? Let's see. Okay, so here's the original card, and here's the cut card. And what you have to do is gently, very gently, because obviously it's very thin bits of card, stretch it out. Actually, it can go quite a long way. If you've done the cuts carefully, you can make a great big daisy chain. And now you've got to be very careful as you put it over your head. In my case, over my shoulders. Be careful you don't tear it. There we go. Ta-da!
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did I
That's so
can't
clever.
believe that you could cut and then climb through this little card. Thank you, Paul. That was very, very clever. I'm going to try it right now.
And while you're doing that, why don't we cut over to Claire and Hannah and see what they're baking this month?
What are they making?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Okay.
Hello, Claire and Hannah.
Hello, everybody.
Hi again. Today we're going to be making some delicious chewy flapjacks, and we're going to start by putting some ingredients into our bowl, which we're then going to warm up. Okay, so we're going to start, Hannah, with 100 grams of butter.
Yeah,
Do you think you can put that in?
yeah. With my dirty fingers.
You've washed your fingers, haven't you? We washed our fingers before we started. Yeah, so what's this we're putting in?
Rose
What is it?
and butter.
Some butter. Yum, yum. Right, in you go then. grams.
Some more.
Some more.
Some more.
Tiny bit more. That will do that little bit there. It's not for eating, it's to go in the bowl. Can you put that bit in? Okay. When you've got your 100 grams of butter, you need to add to it 100 grams of light brown sugar. But if you don't have light brown sugar, you can just use caster sugar. So what are we putting in now, Hannah? What is it?
This
Hang on a second. Okay. So in goes the sugar.
one. It's the flour.
It's the sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to need about 4 more big spoons like that. That was a little one, so probably 4 more still. Lovely, keep going. So Hannah's got 100 grams of butter in there, and she's now putting in 100 grams of brown sugar. Nice big spoonfuls. Good girl. And that's probably almost finished. A little bit more. And we're done.
Wow.
Yeah. What's that?
Syrup.
Yeah, golden syrup. You also need 100 grams of golden syrup. You're going to squeeze that in.
Yeah.
Right, so hold it there, do a big squeeze. Well done. So we're doing a big squeeze. Make sure it goes in the bowl. 100 grams of golden syrup. So in my bowl, we've got 100 grams of butter, 100 grams of light brown sugar, and we will have 100 grams of syrup. There we go. Stop, stop, stop.
Okay.
101 grams of syrup. Perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to melt those together in the microwave, and we will see you later for the next part of our recipe. Can you say bye-bye, everybody?
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Claire and Hannah. Right, what's next? Martin, what are you doing?
Can't do it. Too complicated.
I think maybe have another try
I
later.
just need a cup of tea to calm down.
Oh, cup of tea.
Mm.
Oh, trouble is, Martin, do you remember we've run out of milk? Never mind. I think Lynn told us to save milk bottles for something.
Well, is she going to do a craft?
She is, and we're going to cut over to her now.
That might help me calm down as well.
So I've made a few things over this month using milk bottles, and I wanted to show you just how to do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to make this elephant. Now what you need to do is take a 4-pint milk bottle. Make sure that it's well and truly washed out, otherwise you'll end up, everything will smell of sour milk, and that's pretty revolting, believe you me. So the first thing we need to do is to cut the base off the milk bottle. Now, on the side with the handle, there's a little kind of triangle shaped grid thing, and I think you could probably use that as the base for the bottom, the bit that you're going to cut off. So if you cut just a little bit below that using a pair of scissors, like so, and there you've got your base. You take the lid off. And to make the trunk, you need to cut the bottom of the handle just straight like that, and that's the trunk. Now to make the legs, elephants have got big sturdy legs, so you need to make sure that your arches that you cut aren't actually that big, but of course you need to cut this bit out the middle, otherwise it looks a bit strange. So we're just going to cut around that bit. Like so. And then you need to do the same with every side. So it's just cutting a bit, a little arch out. So you kind of end up with bits like that on all 4 sides think perhaps the legs are a bit too big. I might just cut a little bit of the legs there. And then maybe just cut a bit more up here so it's not, I can't see any of the curve bit. So in the end, you end up with something looking roughly that shape. Now, I chose to make mine into a bit of a fun multicoloured elephant. So what I did was cut out a lot of square shapes out of tissue paper, but of course you could use any sort of colour paper. You could even rip bits out of a magazine to make it into a collage if you wanted to. And then I just used some PVA glue, and just stuck them on randomly. I started at the bottom, just like that, making sure that you wrapped it round the edge to make a good finish, so that you could see where the leg was. Now, it did actually take me quite a time to go all the way around to fill the elephant, and of course you'll need to do the trunk as well, but you just carry on laying it up and up and up until you've completely filled the elephant. Then what you need to do for the ears is, I cut out a couple of shapes like this. So here's one I've already cut out, and I'm just going to cut this one out. And then again, if you decide to do your elephant with little bits of paper, you obviously need to cover the ears with your squares of paper, or with your collage. The alternative is, of course, that you could choose to just paint your elephant a grey colour or whatever colour you fancied. And when you've got your ears like this, you just need to bend them back, because this bit's the tab, and then you put a bit of glue, your PVA glue on there, and make sure that the tab is going backwards so you can't see it from the front, and just stick it to the sides. So it looks like that. Yours, of course, will be looking a lot more colourful than mine, because you would have covered it by this time. And now for the eyes, I got two little circles of again white card, and if you just stick them on up the top like that, and then I can't say them quite so well, but then if you've got a black marker, you can just colour in an eye. Oops. So it looks something like that. Now you see my elephant here has got a little tail at the end, so what I did to make the tail was just to cut a strip of card, just like that. Now again, what I did with my tail was covered it before I did anything, so I covered it with these squares of PVA glue. But then to make it curl, I just used a pencil and curled the tail like that. You see, you make it curly. And then again, just a piece of PVA glue on the back, and you stick it to the back like that. And there is your elephant, or like that. You can paint it, decorate it however you like. So that's the elephant. Now the other thing I made was a little Siamese cat looking like that. Now I've only made mine Siamese because they're the only two colours I had to paint it, and I thought it looked kind of a bit Siamesey. But for the cat, you'll need a 2 pint milk bottle like this. And again, what you need to do is cut it just about level with the triangle of the griddy bit on the bottom of the handle. So if you cut it there all the way around. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to get the scissors in. You may need a bit of help, particularly if you're quite small. Wrestling with the milk bottle. Now this time, you'll notice that the tail goes up, so you actually want to cut the top of the handle to make the tail like that. and then again you want to cut out 4 arches to make cat's legs. Now don't make the cat's legs, they are thinner than the cat's legs are thinner than elephants, but don't make it too thin, otherwise you might find that your cat doesn't stand up very well. But you just need to cut out 4 little arches like so. To make the cat's legs. And you'll do it much better than this because you'll be doing it with, you'll have lots of time to do it. And then what you need to do is make the face. So you need to cut off the very top of the milk bottle. Like so. And then all I've done is, if you like, made a couple of ears. I'm going to put the rest a bit further down. And then I've simply, yeah, my ear's a bit big on that one. Then I've simply painted it and added a couple of eyes in the same way, just out of card, and coloured them in. And for the whiskers, I used some cocktail sticks, which I literally just took a cocktail stick, cut it in half, and then pushed the cocktail stick through for the whiskers, like so, and then pushed it back out the other side so that I've got the point of it at the end. So that's all I've done for the whiskers, and that's how I made the cat. Now the last thing that I've made is a bird feeder. Now I'm sure you're going to do a better job than I did on this one, because there are all sorts of things that you can do on this one. And this is one that can be hung in the garden, and you can use it to feed your birds. So as you can see, I've just used a 4-pint milk bottle again and cut out 2 large arches each side. So the base will be where you put the bird food in. Then I've painted it brown. Now if you're going to paint it, I would advise you to paint it before you do anything else. I've done it the wrong way around. But if you paint it whatever colour, you might also choose to draw pictures of birds and put on it, or put stickers on it, or paint it multicoloured, whatever you like. And then you need to find a way of making sure that you can hang your bird feeder up. Now I've used wool, but probably it would be more sensible if you've got some twine like this that you can borrow from your dad or your mum, to get some of this and to cut a bit of that off. And just a case of, with your scissors, getting somebody to poke a hole in through the milk bottle and tying it up the other end so that you can hang it up. Now the other thing I've done is tried to make a bit of a roof. I haven't done a brilliant job of it, but it gives you some sort of an idea. Now I've used bits of small stick. I actually got these off our pampas grass, and I've cut them to roughly the same length, and I've stuck them on using the PVA glue again. Now it's a bit tricky because sometimes they move about a bit, or they fall off, but you just have to make sure that you've stuck them in firmly, and then you'll need to put more on than I've got, but then you've got a little roof. And then I've added a little perch. You can either put one kind of across the bottom, or you can put it across across the corner like that, just for the birds to stand on while they're getting out the food. And then the final thing you need to do is just to take your bird food and just put it in there and hang it somewhere so that the birds can come and enjoy their feast. So there you go, 3 things that you can do with milk bottles. You can make an elephant, or you can make a cat, or you can make a bird feeder to hang up in your garden. So enjoy and have fun with your modelling. Now it's back to Martin and Steph. Bye.
Thanks, Lynn. That was really good. I really liked that elephant and the bird feeder. That was amazing. And it's really helped me calm down from, I was quite stressed before. Anyway, as you can see, Steph is working on her elephant.
Yeah, my elephant there. It's going to be a multicoloured elephant like Lynn's was. I'm just getting more colours out of my
Very
tissue
good.
paper.
So whilst you carry on with that, why don't we all head back over to Claire and Hannah's house and see how they're getting on with their flapjacks. back over to you guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hello again. So while you've been gone, we have melted our mixture in the microwave and it's nice and smooth and runny. And we've weighed out 100 grams of dried apricots, which we are just cutting up. And we've just finished cutting them, haven't we, Hannah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you can put them into the bowl. Well done. Then we're going to put in an eighth of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon to make it really yummy. Put that in. See. And then we are going to mix all of that together
I want to do it.
to make sure the spices are all mixed in well.
I want to.
Right, you mix it then. Good job. Shall Mummy finish off? Can I do some now? And then the next thing we need is we need 200 grams of oats, which Hannah's going to put into the bowl now, aren't you?
Oh,
Yeah, some oats.
oats.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we need lots of lovely oats. Well done.
And mix.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot more than that. So you keep going while Mummy gets the tray to put them in when we've made them. Well done, good job. Okay, now that's, you need a few more, Hannah, keep going. So you've done about 3/4 of them. Super. Couple more spoons and you'll be there. One more spoon, see? Okay, I think we're finished. All finished. Now we need to mix all of that together, don't we?
I'm going to mix it.
Yeah, mix that together nicely. While Hannah's mixing that together, I'm just putting the greaseproof paper into the tin. I would have done this earlier, but I forgot. And that's now ready for our mixture when it is mixed together. You want me to do some mixing?
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got to mix this now until all those oats are coated in the lovely butter, sugar and syrup mixture.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to heat those up later, won't we?
On my chair.
Yeah, they're on your chair, they're on the floor, they're on the table, they're everywhere. Okay, now that's all mixed together, so we're going to put it into our tin.
Where's Henry?
So we put it in the baking tray. Let's just spoon it out. Henry the Hoover.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think he might be in the hallway at the moment. Can I get the last bits out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your way.
And then you've just got to push it to the edges of the tin. It's looking yummy, and make it nice and flat.
Get some more out.
Let's get some more out. Well, we're done now, aren't we?
And marshmallows on top.
Marshmallows with your flapjack.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that because this is apricots. But you could use marshmallows, I suppose, if you wanted to, or you could use chocolate chips or sultanas, or nuts or seeds, or desiccated coconut, anything you like. But about 100 grams of other things can be added to the mixture to make a nice, delicious flapjack. Okay. So I've just smoothed that out, as you can see. We're going to put that in the oven for 20 minutes to start with. We'll see if it's looking done, and then we will take it out when it's gone slightly golden. We don't want to overcook it, and we don't want to make it too dark, or it will be hard rather than nice and chewy. If you want it crispy flapjack, cook it for a bit longer, but we want a nice chewy one, so we'll just do 20 minutes and then check on it. Okay, so we'll see you later. Can you say bye-bye, everybody?
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Claire and Hannah. Those look like they're coming on nicely. So, I'm doing well now on my elephant. What are you doing, Martin?
Well, I'm just watching you.
Oh, well, how about you do some craft? How about use these toilet rolls?
Ah, yeah, I could do something with toilet rolls. I could show everybody how to make some binoculars.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, that wasn't very nice.
Or, no good?
No.
Okay, how about we make together, let's have a think. I got it. Some headphones.
Martin, that doesn't look anything like headphones. Makes you look a bit like a monster, really.
All right. Okay, how about, I got one. A trumpet.
That's very noisy and not much fun.
Oh,
Tell you what, I think Paul's got some much better ideas about what to make out of toilet roll tubes. Should we cut over to Paul again?
yeah, Paul. What could we do with toilet roll tubes?
Take a toilet roll, an ordinary used toilet roll, and make a dinosaur. And I've got two dinosaurs. This fella is Diplodocus. He's a great big, I think one of the biggest dinosaurs. Eats trees and shrubs and so on. Very, very docile. And a little bit more complicated one. This fellow is Triceratops. He eats trees and shrubs as well, actually, but is rather more fierce, and he has a sort of a bony shield over to protect his head, and a real one had 3 horns. This one we're going to pretend has been in a fight and lost one of his horns because he's only got 2. They're quite easy to make. I'm going to show you how to cut them out, and I'm just going to bring the camera nearer so you can see a little bit more detail. Okay, we'll start with Diplodocus because he's the easier of the 2. That's one side actually. You just take a toilet roll, and the first thing you do is flatten it. And then you draw a shape on the side. Take a photo. I've drawn it and taken a photograph so it's a bit easier to see. Because I do have the toilet roll really marked up, but it's not quite as easy to see. So essentially looking at the dinosaur sideways on. These are his legs, this is his body, that's his tail, and that's his head when you fold him correctly. So you need to draw a U shape, sort of an arch in the middle, and a couple of half U shapes to make his 2 legs. This one's back is straight, and he has a really long tail which tapers out to nothing. Right, you want to use the full height of the toilet roll to do that. And then he's got a neck coming up to his head. Now, it's easy just to draw sort of a straight line through and fold it back here and put a little bit of a lump on here, and you'll see what that makes later on. So that's the shape, and this is what it turns out when you cut it up. So you can see you're sort of looking at sideways on a dinosaur. You can see two legs. There are two legs at the back there. That's his tail, and that's his head. Now what you do is you unflatten him, and then you can bend his tail back. Be careful, a little bit delicate. You don't bend his neck stays up, but what you do is you bend him around this little, where the lump is for his head. So you bend that forward, and then you slightly flatten him again. The tail sticks out and the head sticks down. All you need to do is add a couple of eyes. And there he is, Diplodocus. Nobody knows what colour they were. I'm prepared to believe that they're grey, and so I'm going to leave him unpainted. But you could paint him any colour you wish, to be honest. Let's put him to one side, and I will show you how to make Triceratops. Same thing, you flatten the toilet roll and you draw the shape on. So this is a bit more complicated shape. It's got some similarities, but it's more complicated. He's got shorter legs, so he doesn't have like a U, he has a more like a bridge sort of shape. Half U's at the front and back. He's got a flat tummy, and he's got a curved back. He's a much more bulky sort of creature, and he's got a thicker tail, and it doesn't come all the way up to the top of the toilet roll, and it sort of stops and it stays thick. And he's got a short, stubby, very stubby neck, and a blunt nose. But the difficult bit is, of course, he's got these horns which stick out. The other thing you have to make is of the bony shield, and that's a separate thing, and that's actually quite difficult to fit into that space. You can see how tight it is. The way I did that was to use a bottle top. This is a Robinson's barley water, to draw a circle, and a 5p coin to draw a circle. And you kind of imagine a straight line in between, but you need these little sort of cheeks that stick out. So it's quite a tight fit. Of course, you've got two toilet rolls, you could cut out of a separate toilet roll. And here we go. There he is cut out. And there's the bony shield. Now, in the same way as with Diplodocus, you flatten him out. This time you bend the tail down in the same way. But you also bend the whole neck down, not just the top of the head as with Diplodocus, the whole head. The other thing you have to do is bend the horns up. And that's the body part. Now, what you have to do with this is fold it through the sort of the cheeks. Use a pair of scissors, make it cut a couple of little slots the width of the horns. Fold that out straight again, and you should be able to put the horns through the slits. A little bit awkward, but there we go. And then you'll probably have to bend them upright again because you haven't got the width exactly right. And again, just give them a couple of eyes. And there he is. So there you go. One simple and one not so simple dinosaur. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of a daft thing to do, but something that you can have a bit of fun with at home. No need to stick with dinosaurs, of course. You could make different shapes using the same sort of principle. Ali asked me to make a giraffe, so I have. I don't think it's totally successful, but you can see that if you've got a longer tube, like a kitchen roll tube, you've got possibilities of making taller, thinner creatures. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Back to you, Martin and Steph.
Thanks, Paul. That was great.
I really like that.
Yeah, that's really inspiring.
But I would like to make the giraffe.
Oh, trouble is, he said you needed a kitchen roll tube for that, and we've only got toilet rolls. Mind you, I think if we did this and we stuck them together,
Oh yeah.
that would work, wouldn't it? Then you could have a nice tall giraffe.
I could do that. I could do that during our next feature. I like to call it a feature. Because this is the first time in the 3 Big Green Dome Lunch Club lives that we've done that we've had this feature.
What is it?
We're going over to Michael's house for a story about... What's it about?
I don't know.
Oh, well, let's head over to Michael's house and find out. But we've got a really special way to get to Michael's house. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Then we're all going to click our fingers and we will end up in Michael's house. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
I'm ready.
You got to do this.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
We're still here?
Oh, it didn't work.
No.
Did you guys click with us? Okay, it wasn't loud enough. Let's try a clap. So 1, 2, 3, big clap, and let's see if we can end up in Michael's house. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Well, hello, and thank you, Martin and Steph. I'm going to be reading a story, one of my favourite stories that I have discovered recently. But before I go any further, there's a couple of things I need to sort out. The first one is it's pretty dark, but I'm going to try something. Okay, here we go. Ah, that works really well. Okay, I now need to find the book, which is I'll try something else. Okay, here we go. Ah, that also worked. So the book I have picked today is called Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andre and Guy Parker Rees. And let this be a warning for buying stuff on the internet. I thought this was going to be quite a bit bigger, but we'll make it work. Okay, so Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andre. At least that's how I think you pronounce it. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim. But his knees were awfully bandy and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango, which was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked towards the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald!" The animals all laughed. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool! Oh, Gerald, don't be daft." Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and all alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on, "but sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to." With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying and his tail was swishing around. He threw his arms out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. "I'm dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I'm dancing!" Gerald cried. Then, one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him, quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we have ever seen! How is it you can dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twizzled round and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." The end. So there we go. That was Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andre. Back to you, Martin and Steph.
Thanks, Michael. That was a lovely story, wasn't it, Martin?
It really was, and I like giraffes. Look, here's the one I tried to make. It's coming along.
He's lovely too.
Yeah, I'm going to paint him yellow.
Well, I think it's time to get back to Claire and Hannah. Those flapjacks should be baked by now.
Oh yeah, let's check them out.
Hello again, everybody. So since you've been gone, our flapjack has come out the oven and we've cut it up while it was still warm because that makes it easier to cut, and now we're going to see if we like it, aren't we? Do you want to try it?
No.
You don't want to try it?
No.
Not even a little bit?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to try it. Mmm, yum yum. You sure you don't want to try yours?
No.
Okay.
Wow, those flapjacks look delicious.
They absolutely did. Unlike Hannah, I would love to have tried one.
I think I'm going to have a go at making some later.
What would you put in?
Maybe blueberries.
Sounds nice. I think I might go for apple and cinnamon. Anyway, we are basically at the end of today's edition. So, just a few things left.
What have we got left to do?
We've got to say goodbye to everybody. Shall we do that now? Shall we quickly whip round and say goodbye to the team?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Bye. See you next time.
Bye from me.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye!
Brilliant. So, just one last thing before we say goodbye, and that is this Wednesday, the 17th of June, at 8 p.m, if you're an adult, not the kids, just the adults, and you would like to join the team that run Big Green Dome Lunch Club, we are going to have a little cook-along on Zoom.
Yeah.
We've done this once before and it worked really well. So you are very welcome to join us. If you go to smgchurch.co.uk/lunch club cooks, you'll find all the details that you need there. And you would be very welcome just to come along, join us, hang out on Zoom for about an hour. We're going to make something nice. Michael is going to lead us in the cooking. And we're just going to have a chat and have fun. But it's not for kids, it's just for the adults. Okay? So if you can join us, it would be lovely to see you. But if you can't, don't worry. No problem at all. Okay? Is that it, Steph?
Yeah, that's it. Just time for us to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. And thank you for joining us.
Bye.